picture tells us that the
I'm here with Delaware Valley Elementary School students, third graders, at the Tri-States Gazette, and they'll be taking a tour.
That's where we drop our film.
And Becky, can you step on over that way a little? That's it. Keep going, Becky, a little bit. That's it. So everybody can fit in. Good. Good.
Yes, Fred, you can cover me. I don't know what to do.
I'm just going to start here from the front and take you through the building, and we'll go downstairs to the production area. This is Wilma Caulfer. She's one of our classified advertising salespeople. And classified advertising is the back part of the paper in the small columns. And the reason they call it classified is there are different classifications according to the type of thing that you want to sell or buy, for like a car for sale or a house for sale or a yard sale. There are a lot of those in the summertime. You've probably seen them in there. And like everything else that we do here, we're all computerized. The ads go onto a computer and then they go downstairs where they come out in type and then they're pasted up on a page. And when we get down there later, I'll show you where that's done. Just come up over down the hall here. This is our advertising sales department. We have Larry Tewksbury and Kathy Oster, are two advertising salespeople. These big books that you see over here are books that when they're pasted.
Okay.
Oh, there's like a
All right, I'll change it. Very good. Thanks.
picture of a building that's used in an ad, or like the bagel ad that has this Mr. Bagel. He's actually a piece of artwork that's drawn, and they take them out of these books, or they have them from the advertisers that they use when they're doing the ads.
Trying to stay behind your chair.
Some of you can get around there, and some of you can come here. There's a story that I'm working on here on my computer. This is Janice Osborne, our editor. This is Judy Fitzpatrick's class from Delaware Valley.
Welcome to the newsroom.
And that's Dave Gordon, one of our reporters.
I'm doing what we call the education page right now for Friday's newspaper, and this is called a dummy sheet. Dummy sheet. And what it is the size of the actual newspaper that Bob's holding.
I'll show you the page from last week.
And so what I do is draw on here what I want this page to look like for the people downstairs to put together.
Here's
Does
last
anybody-
week's page.
Anybody know these boys and girls in these photographs? This is a little girl from your elementary school who donated her coat to Coats for Kids.
No.
Everybody, and you know her? Well, her picture, she's your cousin? Her picture's going to be right here on this page on Friday. And these boys who are also in Delaware Valley School, elementary school, their picture's going to be right up here. And this is an honor roll from Port Jervis High School that will be on this page. Now, I just wanted to show you one little thing here. This is what we call a contact sheet. The photographer goes to a school event. This happens to be Trinity Catholic School. And they had a book parade. When was it, David?
Friday.
So David went and took pictures with his camera of Trinity Catholic School's book parade. And then we developed them all on one sheet of paper. So when I look at this to pick the picture I'm going to use on this page, I have to look at it through this magnifying glass. which we call a loop. And do you want to try to look through there and see what that looks like? I can't possibly show this to everyone, but maybe you could file past and look at it if I leave it on the table. What you have to do here, it makes it larger so I can see the people. So as you file out of the room, I'm just going to put this down here. Let me put it flat. And you can look through there and see
Oh, cool. It's like
how I pick out the pictures because my eyes aren't so good either. So perhaps you can all take a turn and look at it. And that's why I pick out the pictures for this, the ones that I'm going to use in the newspaper. And this is what I'm writing right now is a caption for the photograph of the girl who donated her coat. Oh, here it is. So can you read that caption to me and tell me what that says? Can you? No? Alexis Batista. Can you read the rest of it?
Alexis
Right
Batista
here.
donated her coat to the Coats for Kids project at the Liz Valley Elementary School. So far, 150 coats have been delivered to local Salvation Army for distribution. School nurse Helen Kahn is in charge of the project.
So that will appear under her photograph in the paper, so it tells you all about the photograph. And it explains what the photograph is. Now, does anybody have any questions about what goes on here? I mean, I'm not sure what you might want to know.
we can take pictures, like where to take it.
Well, sometimes people call and say, can you come take a picture of my Cub Scout meeting? Or I have this really weird flower in my backyard, will you come take a picture of it? Sometimes I send the reporters and photographers because I know something is happening. If there's fire, we hear it on the scanner in the back room, and so we go to the fire right away to see what's happening. But we depend on people to call us when they have newsworthy things, and that means you can call us too. If you think there's something we should come and take a picture of. Yes?
How long does it take for a newspaper?
To be printed?
Yeah.
Well, the whole process at this newspaper, we only come out once a week, takes about 3 days. Well, actually, it takes the whole week to get it all together. But when we start to put it together, that takes about 3 days. And the printing of it only takes how long, Bob, would you say?
About an hour.
An hour to print 8,000 copies of the newspaper. And I don't know if you're going to get to see a press run, but...
It's not going to be running, but they have something set up on the press.
Oh, good.
It won't be actually running, but they have the dispatch set up.
Do you have any other questions? Anybody? No? My name is Jervis.
Now, if you come over here, you can see a story on the screen.
Oh, that's right.
This is, you might remember I told you that we get a lot of our stories from going to meetings that night. This is from a Milford Borough Council meeting that I went to last night. And they're trying to get a couple big cannons to put on the courthouse lawn. So I'm writing a story about what they did. This would be my story, and then I would type it into the computer when I'm all done. And then all of the reporters, like you probably do with your computers at school or at home, we have initials for our stories. And here's a list of all the stories that we're working on for this week.
Wow.
For instance, you saw this story last week on DVES. That's still in the system from last week. This is the story after I got done with it. Janice would do what I just did. She will go to a whole listing of all the stories. She would call this story up, and then she'll put a headline on it. You can see here's the headline. DVES may get interviews. And then here's what we call the subhead. And then the picture layout and the caption is what she just showed you over there. And then each one of us have this listing of stories. So when she goes through this, the listing, there's probably, I'd say, a couple hundred stories that she has to read through every week. And then we always put something in here to identify the story. For instance, this story about the cannons, you call cannons. And the name that we put on here is what they call the slug. That way when she calls up the whole list of stories, she can see that there's DV, TV, there's education, there's a story about the Pike Fair, there's a police blotter, and she can call up different things for different pages. Then from here, once she does the story, like I just showed you, when she gets a story to the point that it is, you see it on the screen here. It has the headline written on it, it has the sub-headline written on it, and it has the column size set. You'll see that this is all even along here. That's what we call justified, and that makes it come out in this column, the way you see it here. Any questions on that?
There was one more thing I wanted to show them when you finish. In this back room, and I don't know if you can all get in here, all come back and look. Okay, turn around and look at these black books here. These are old newspapers. We have every newspaper from 1955 on that we've ever published, and the rest of them are at the library in microfilm. So you can go look at old newspapers all the way back to the 1800s about Port Jervis. Now, I want to pick somebody out. When's your birthday?
August 5th.
And what year were you born? Do you know?
Yeah.
What? 1986. Well, let's find August. Okay. Okay, everybody file back out in the other room. Go ahead. Come on back out here. Okay. This young man was born on August 5th, 1986. Okay, so we'll show you what the newspaper looked like on the day you were born. August. Let's see what the big news was on the day that you were born. Certainly it was news that you were born. Okay, there we go. This is the day you were born. Oh, this is 85. No. What is this? I have the wrong book. Excuse me a minute.
It really looks like the rest of it. That's the sports department. That's where all the sports stories are done.
What's that?
Okie dokie, that's the day you were born, and what was happening? Well, not a whole lot. But anyway, all these things were happening on the day you were born. So you can go back in our files and look at newspapers. Someday when you're older and in college, you may have to use old newspapers to research papers, find out about history. They're here for you to look at, and they're also in the library on microfilm, all the way back to the 1800s. Okay?
Like in the courthouse?
The courthouse has files. We only have newspaper files.
Still like it.
The courthouse has many, many files, but yeah, kind of. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of your tour.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're all the same system. It's all connected together. Just call it. This is where they compose the the paper and the ads and the stories that we have, and they put them onto the pages. This is Sue Howard. She's one of our composing room people, and this is Edna back here on the Apple. After you see the story upstairs, Janice showed you the dummy sheet. We also have a dummy sheet for advertising. For instance, this is the ad that you see from Walmart on page 2 every week. When Walmart opened up, they came to us to buy advertising, and they bought page 2 for the next 2 years. So you're going to see a Walmart ad there every week for 2 years. Here's the type of ad that the people that I was telling you upstairs, where they use a piece of cut art, and the advertising people are doing a story here on Encore, which is the consignment shop over in Matamoros. And they're having a bag and box sale, so they cut out a little picture of a guy with a bag over his head. They make this ad upstairs the way that they want it, and then it's sent down here to the advertising people, and they make it up the way that it goes into the paper. Here's the sheet here that the advertising people kind of crossed it out and made some changes. Here it is before it comes out of the machine, and here it is ready to go into the paper. What the ad people do upstairs is they write out the ad the way that they want, and then they put it in one of these envelopes and they bring it down. Here's another one here that's a looks like a thank you page or something. This is a thank you page that the hospital staff is taking out this week. This is how it's written out. This is what it looks like with the type. Over here, these are all Apple Macintosh machines. So you might have those at home. What does it say? That's the maker of the monitor. And they use larger monitors than we do, because you can see here Edna's working on an ad right now. If you want to come a little closer, you can. This is for Spangenberg's grocery store. Here's another ad that she has for True Value Hardware, the items that they have on sale. Here's what I was telling you about before. Here's a whole, whoever sold the account for Spangenberg's upstairs, they wrote this all out on a piece of paper, similar to the one Janice showed you. And then this is what it looks like when Edna has it on the screen. You can see it's all set into type.
Coming out in the other room.
How quick will that one be coming up?
Should be out now.
It would.
Should be in the tray. Yep.
They're type setters. I don't know if you can all fit in here. This
I
machine,
know.
this machine, the reason that this is closed and the reason that you hear the air conditioner and the heating in here is this entire room has to be climate controlled. It has to be at a certain temperature all the time.
Why?
And the ad that you just saw on the screen, here's the ad that just came out of the machine, the way she had it on the screen. The next thing that happens is the ad, whoever's working on pay stuff out here, they come in here, hit the type. Here's the Walmart ad over here that I showed you before. They take these, they put it through, this is a wax machine. You run it through there and it puts wax on the back. Then they can take and paste it up on the page. Here's page 1 of last week's paper. After that ad comes out, or our story comes out, they use the dummy sheet that Janice showed you upstairs, and they follow the instructions on that sheet the same way they do with the ads. And the type is then pasted up onto this paper. We get 2 pages on each one. Our old paper used to be like a full sheet size, which we called a broadsheet. This is what we call a tab size. So we can get 2 pages on 1 page. You can see this is everything all pasted up. Here's an ad pasted up. Here's the picture with the caption. Here's the story. And here's the guide across the top. Over here are the TV listings. We run a TV listings, and then these are the different desks where the people like Sue and Edna paste up the type onto the pages.
What's the difference between the red tape and the white tape?
The white tape is to hold things on. The red tape is a transparent tape so that you can tape something down and shoot through it in the dark room.
Yeah.
They're just different. They're just different colors, really.
As a black.
The different tapes they use for different things. Over here, once they bring the flat out in there that's all pasted up, they bring it over here to the camera. So you see one of our pressmen doing right now. This plate is actually shot on the camera. And it makes a duplicate of the page right on the plate. We can probably show you that. In this machine so that they'll fit onto the press. I don't think there's actually any shot plates on it. There's one sitting. There's one sitting. Our newspaper, it's another newspaper. See, that goes onto there to the plate machine. And that's actually 4 pages of this newspaper are on this one plate. It's the same tabloid size as our paper.
2 pages would be a broad paper.
Those plates then go over here onto the press drums. There are the drums here that those plates go onto. And then they run this through. As the press runs, those plates pick up the ink from the ink wells along each bank of the press. And that's what actually prints the paper onto the rolls of newsprint. These are some rolls here of newsprint. You can see where they got them on going up into there. Now there are different types of printing press. This type of press is what they call a web press because the paper runs in a continuous web up from the roll at the end, up through and around down and back through this way. In the center is where the papers actually come off, right where the ladder is. The papers come through in the pages, and it's all folded, and it's all collated and put together, and it comes out as a whole paper right there on that chute by the ladder. Then from here, they wrap the papers up. These are the tables where different people, when you get the Kmart catalog and the different things inserted every week, that's where they do the inserting, is here in this room. And then they ship the papers out to be delivered. It's usually on a press run.
Today we'll have
About 3 changes, because you've got 3 different runs. Right? Usually, I think they can do one entire press run on a roll of paper, depending on the size of the publication. Later, this paper they're printing now, they'll probably use a roll like this. Later on this afternoon, they'll be printing the Pike County Dispatch. I don't know if you remember when I spoke to you before, but in addition to printing our own paper, we print about 15 other newspapers, weeklies and dailies. So the guys in the press room are busy all the time. Usually about this time of day, they're running somebody's newspaper if they're not running ours. This is all the storage here. You can see on these. On these skids over here are probably the Kmart inserts for this week that we put into the paper. And over here is our photo dark room. Can I just keep this open for a second? This is Al, our photo technician. This is the dark room here where all our photo work is done. When Janice showed you the contact sheet, once she marks the size of the picture, it comes down here to Al. Here's the contact sheet here with the picture sized on it. He then takes an envelope over here with a negative. And this is the enlarger. The negative goes in here to a negative folder. What you do is you put this around the negative, the square that you picked out, that you want to make a print from, goes in there. And this is the enlarger. What this does is it takes the little tiny picture on the negative and it makes it into the size that we use it in the newspaper. Now normally he would have this door closed because otherwise it would expose the paper and nothing would come out at all. The only kind of light you can use in the darkroom is a red light here. That's so that you have enough light to see but it doesn't expose your film. Then the enlarger is shooting the picture down on a piece of paper. When you shoot through a negative, you get your image. There's going to be, the reason they call it a negative is you're going to get an image that's upside down through the enlarger. Bigger than it. You can see these presses look a little bit older, these four right here. These four presses and the tower are the ones that we originally had. And then a few years ago we put this addition on. Just kind of come back in this area and you'll have to come back clear from there.
Either or they can go over there and they can
Yes.
come down to the poles.
Okay. Oh. Okay, you guys can come with me.
Here's the roll down here. How many can you print?
Well, how many do you think that just printed?
That just printed right now?
We have to go down to the counter and look.
I'm not sure. You
Yeah.
have to look down here where he's taking them off in the stack. There's a counter down here where you can see on the. There's a counter down by the center there where it tells you how many have come off.
Just be careful, don't put your hands by my
Now that means that it's going to start running and that you have to be clear when you hear that alarm. That means you don't want to have your hand in your.
The coffee's over there on the desk.
How many copies can you print in a press run?
Well, it's 310 a minute or 18,600 an hour.
And how long do they ask you for when